Welcome, everybody, to Heroes Asylum, issue 72. My name is Michael. This is Kane over there, grooving away all by himself. We are here doing issue 72 of Heroes Asylum. Heroes Asylum is a weekly podcast where we discuss comic book news, rumors, TV, movie, all the things that if you're a fanboy, fangirl like we are, you'll enjoy. Thank you guys for subscribing here on YouTube and also checking out us out on podcasts. We're all over the place, Spotify, iTunes. Really, just you can find us iHeart. We're out there. So thank you for checking us out. There's 100 podcasts out there, and you chose to take a look at us and stop and check it out. So we'll be here for at least the next hour. It is a busy week, though. There are a bunch of ones out there this week. So we're going to get started with, and I won't butcher Kane with the music this time, but we do have a passing this week, actually a major passing in the comic book industry. And for all of us, Denny O'Neil passed away. I believe it was 81 when he passed away. I didn't see anything about reasons why. Just see it says that Thursday he had passed away from natural causes. And Denny O'Neil, if nobody knows who he is, best known for his work writing DC, Batman, editing Batman titles from 1986 to 2000. Also spent some time on Spider-Man and Iron Man over in the Marvel world, as well as wrote for the Batman animated series, which Kane and I are both big fans of, and I'm sure hopefully you guys are. He also wrote for some of the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, the original run, not any of the Sigmas or any of those, but the original run. And he also was responsible for naming probably one of my favorite leaders of through the 80s was Optimus Prime. So he, to me, I'm gonna just speak out. I'm sure Kane's gonna have some words for him, but to me, he's what defined Batman for me. And in my generation, I feel every generation has their own Batman. The 60s generation had their version of a Batman. 70s, 80s. He defined it for me as a Gen Xer coming up. He was there along the ride for the death of Batman, or not death of Batman, but the Nightfall series. He was there for all the big moments. I think when I grew up, the new books I was picking up every week, he was part of those. So for me, he was the godfather of Batman in my generation, and that's kind of how he'll be remembered for me. What about you, King? Because since you are the Batman fan.
I think I would have to echo your sentiments. The same thing you just said. He defined an era of Batman. He took Batman from one point to another point and basically defined an era. That's what he did. He created what we grew up with as that Batman. And now that he's gone, that Batman is gone. And I think Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are doing it right now, and they're kind of killing it with a couple of their titles. But yeah, he defined an era. He actually, when he wrote for the animated series, he did one of my favorite episodes, which is the Demon's Head, which was a arc that they did in the comics. It was called something else, and he wrote Ra's al Ghul. That was one of the big things that he brought into the animated series, because Ra's was never even used for the longest time, I believe, until they brought him into the animated series. They did that arc, changed it a little bit from the comics, but actually one of the big things was the Lazarus Pit was not introduced until later on, because they hadn't made it up yet. That was basically something they did on the fly, and that was a Denny O'Neil thing. So, it's tough because it's the end of an era and the beginning of a new era now with him gone, because like you just said, so many good Batman titles, so many other stuff that he did too. His contributions to the comic book world what are you going to say? Yeah. Nothing. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
I got a chance to see him at one of the conventions a couple of years ago. He was doing I think they were doing the 80 years of Batman, and he was there looking good, actually. Very surprising when I hear that he passed, but he was there, and he was one of the even you look at Snyder and you look at Capullo, and they're all looking at him as the godfather, because to them, that's what they grew up on. They grew up on reading what his interpretation of Batman was. And I think that's that shows his mark and his legacy for Batman. So he will be sorely missed. I understand he hasn't written in a long time, but just the impact he had in that character, and I think no Batman since has not had an influence some way somehow from Denny O'Neil's version.
Oh yeah, they all cherry pick off Denny stuff. So
yeah,
that's gonna keep going on for like forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's never gonna be really dead. So
no,
So his legacy shall go on.
All
Rest
right,
in
guys.
peace, Denny.
Yes, rest in peace. Yeah, this is our memorial segment. We usually try not to do one that he was the biggest one. I didn't really see anybody else really in our industry. I'm sure other people have passed away. We're not taking taking the wind out of their sail, but just he was a major contributor to, again, just my youth. I mean, if not just talking about Batman, but you throw in Transformers by naming Optimus Prime and the G.I. Joe series, and just there's so much that he touched for me in my childhood. So we're gonna do next. Going to jump into our admissions ward. Our admissions ward will be a little long this week. It has been a interesting week for comic book news and movies and some new releases, some people leaving. So yeah, we're going to jump right into that. So this is our admissions ward.
News from the admissions ward.
So admissions ward, I guess we're going to go ahead. I think Kane and I have about the same amount, so I'm going to go ahead and let Kane take over, start this off. So what do you have today?
Appreciate that, sir. This week we had a major release or release date. And if you guys are gamers, I'm a gamer. I think Mike games once in a while. But the PS5 is coming out. It'll be coming out sometime in the holiday season. And one of the big titles that is coming out is the new Spider-Man game. And according to Heroic Hollywood, it's going to be called Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's not going to be a DLC. If you guys don't know what a DLC is, basically it's basically an extension of the game that you like a buy on, like an added pack or something. And there were some rumors there was going to be a DLC. It is not a DLC. It's going to be Miles Morales, and it's coming out sometime at the end of the year. No specific date. I'm looking at Heroic Hollywood. Yeah, so it's basically the first game of anything that's going to have Miles Morales in it, because if you played the last Spider-Man game, he was in it. He was like a sub-character. But this one is going to be not a straight sequel, but it's basically going to be Miles Morales. And interesting. That's all I'm going to say. This is like one of the first ones they to release with the PS5, and they're going to go with this, which is fascinating because the first game ended. It could have gone a couple. If you guys have not played the Spider-Man game for PS4, spoilers. It's been out for a couple of years now. There was hints that he might face Venom, the symbiote, and all that stuff. And Miles was in it, and he got his spider powers at the end with Peter Parker saying, "Hey, guess what? You can be a Spider-Man too." So, but no, this game is going to be all him, and he's got a couple things, a couple characters that he's going to face, a couple villains, but nothing else has been said. But we should be getting that game close to the holiday season. What do you think?
I've seen all the things from the PS4. I did not purchase PS4. I'm more of a PC gamer when it comes to games. But everything I saw from it, if there was a game to like draw me into buying a PS4, was going to be Spider-Man, and I think one of the Star Wars games. But this one, I guess I'll say it like I always do with Miles and some of the other Spider folks. They're just Peter Parker. I mean, I don't know what more we're gonna get. What I saw from PS4 was amazing. So I'm not sure much more what we're gonna get. We're just gonna get it with Miles and his story. I think the gameplay of what's really important will just be the same, and I'm not sure what much more they can add to it. But again, I'm not the video game guy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting where they go. I didn't think they would actually do a straight-on sequel with Miles. I thought he was going to be in it. I thought they were going to more follow that first game theme they had going on, especially with Peter and Harry and the Osborns and all that. But no, they're going to go straight with Miles. I'm not sure. No, there's no mention of Peter being in the game, but I would have to say that he's going to be in the game, probably like a sub-character like Miles was in the first one. And if you didn't play the first game, they killed off Aunt May. So there's almost like a different multiverse thing going on in this game. It's not any kind of like rhyme or reason. It's not part of any kind of arc. It's just their own thing in its own setting, in their own Sony PlayStation setting, as they would say. So check that game out. It should be coming out. And like I said, no date, but look for it during the holiday season. Mike?
All right. So actually, I guess we can stick into the Spider-Verse announcement this week. We had from the head of the Into the Spider-Verse on June 8th, Nick Kondo had released that they had started production on Into the Spider-Verse #2. I mean, not much can be said about Spider-Verse that hasn't been said already. I mean, it broke records, last year when it came out. It shook up the animated world. It was one of the first ones, other than a Disney or a Pixar movie to get Grammys, or Oscars. I mean, and I mean it was amazing. If nobody's seen it, go see it. It's out there. I'm trying to think where I've seen it online. I think I saw it on Netflix. But it's just amazing. There are some moments in that movie that don't look like animation. It literally looked real to me. There's a scene where he falls from the top of a building, lands on a taxi cab, and the taxi cab sign breaks apart, and it's just laying there. And I was just like blown away. I was not a fan when it first rolled out, like the trailer and everything. When I saw it, I was like, I don't know if it was the animated style that just threw me off for a bit or what. But once I got to see a few more trailers, they released, number 2 and 3 of the trailers. And then I actually went out and saw it with a friend of ours, and I was just blown away. My jaw just dropped on the ground, and I was a fan. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to number 2. Definitely looking forward to it. What are you? What are your thoughts on number 2 coming down the pike?
But it's pretty. I think we knew this was coming, so duh. I mean, it was very successful in the box office. I mean, and you forgot to say the Oscar-winning Into the Spider-Verse, because it did win the Oscar for the best animated movie of that year. I mean, what else can you say about Into the Spider-Verse that hasn't been already said? Some people call it the best Spider-Man movie of all time. I think it's right up there. It's not live action. That's why I don't say it's the best of all time. But I think it's a really good, solid movie. And from beginning to end, it had one of the things that our friend, Greg Berlanti always says that he likes in his TV shows: heart, humor, and spectacle. And that movie had all 3 of them in spades. And, the introduction of all the Spider-Men I thought was brilliant, especially because people didn't know who they were. After that movie, you're going to know who they are. I mean, the intro of the original Pete Parker in this timeline being killed. Then you had the Miles character coming out. Then you had the Prowler, his uncle. You had that relationship. And then you had Peter J. Parker from another alternate universe. I mean, there's just so many good things you could say about it. I don't know how they're going to top it. I don't know if this movie's going to be heavy-centric on Miles, or they're going to bring back some more Spider-Man. Are they going to do Spider-Man 2099? Bring him in there?
I'm pretty sure they were, since they hinted to the 1970s and in 2099. And it's Into the Spider-Verse, so it's going to be about the verse. It's going to be about the multiverse. So, I think we're going to see primarily Miles, but we're going to probably get, reintroduced to some newer ones, because really they hardly touched on the Spider-Verse. If anybody's ever read any of the Into the Spider-Verse comic book series, there are so many Spider-Men and women out there that they haven't touched on, and some of them are my more favorite ones. The Spider Noir was one of my top ones. But the other ones that they threw in there,
he was the best one.
I wasn't that big a fan of some of the other ones, but they've got other ones. They've got like a punk Spider-Man who's like anti-establishment. He's like a cyber Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like kind of like a cyberpunk Spider-Man. Yeah. You've got shoot, I just drew a blank on her name. They're talking about she's female Spider-Man or
Spider-Gwen?
Not Gwen, no, because we've already got Gwen. Shoot. Okay. She wears black. Shoot, I can't remember.
Not Spider-Woman?
No.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. I forgot her name too.
She's Korean. She's a Korean descent, and it's shoot, just completely drawn a blank. But she's one of my favorite ones if when I fucking memory works. But yeah, I think there's a lot more that they can do and a lot more depth in those other Spider folks out there. And I think the ones they picked for this movie, the original one, were the safe ones. Everybody's going to be okay with Spider-Ham. You've got, Peter Porker, because, I mean, if anybody remembers from the Simpsons movie, Homer holding the pig up against the ceiling. So there was that direct connection to that movie and in pop culture. And so there was a lot of familiarity. I think this would go around, they need to take a chance.
Yeah, I'd say at the ending of that movie also, besides 2099, they had the 60s Spider-Man. Why don't you just throw him in there as well? Do the MTV version of the Spider-Man, or do the Fox version in the animated series. You can bring that Spider-Man. There's so many Spider-Man out there. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just insane. So I'm sure they have some stuff already lined up for the sequel, and probably won't see that till I think we'll see that probably 20. Any release date? They say? Or
I didn't see a release date. Hold on, let me recheck my notes.
I'll probably guess 2022.
It's probably going to be 2022 because you're looking at October 7th. October 7th, 2022 is the release date. Because you just got to think of them.
If they're in production now, then you get the pre-production, you got to get the artwork, you got to get the storyboard down.
It's all artwork. So
yeah, okay.
All right. So what do you have next?
Well, I'm going to stick back to the PS5 launch and another game that has been rumored to be coming out. And again, I can't say I have a release date for it. Again, it's still rumor. A new report says that Warner Brothers Montreal's long-running rumored Batman video game might be announced in the coming months and released sooner than you think. There have been many rumors in the video game. Rocksteady and Warner Brothers Montreal are working on the Warner Brothers Montreal project is rumored to be in a rumored Batman reboot. And this game will involve the Court of Owls. Now, we got this, I think we reported about this last year. We probably reported about it a couple months ago. So, again, nothing new. But I guess there is some hope because we've seen some nuggets dropped, especially on Instagram and Twitter, from WB Montreal, different symbols of the Court of Owls. One of them looked like a demon's head, could be, the League of Assassins. So it's coming. We just don't know when. But it's coming sooner than everybody thinks. But we know it's coming. I think we discussed about this a couple months ago that you said, and I think you're pretty spot on. I think it's going to get released with the PS5 around there. I think this is going to be one of the newer PS5 releases. It makes sense. You got Spider-Man on there. Why not throw in a new Batman game on there? And another thing I heard about it is you're going to be able to use every single playable character. You can play as Batman, Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and you're not going to be. You could use the Batmobile, but sparingly, and you could use the Batwing, but not as much as the last game. So what you got? What do you think, Mike?
Again, the Batman series on PS3. I think that was the last one I touched on, and that was I think they had a couple of releases on the PS3. They were all great. They had. You can't beat it. It does sometimes get a little repetitive, but sometimes it's not always about gameplay. It's about storyline too. Mm-hmm. When you look at, especially when it comes to Batman.
Yeah, especially when that first one was released, was the Batman Arkham Asylum. That was the only one video game of the year, and it just blew everybody away because nobody thought, because after the last Batman game that was released, what they used to do, I'm sure you remember this, when they used to release movies back in the day that had like a comic book thing, they used to release a video game that came along with it. And the last one was the Batman Begins game, which was okay. Wasn't the greatest thing in the world, very choppy. But then this one had nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. They took this and they made it basically the fighting style that this is in those Arkham games has been copied by many video games down the road. So it's a very iconic franchise. And it's good to see that they're going to finally, reboot it. It's fine. I would rather they do more DC stuff, like a Justice League game, a Superman game. I think would be great too. But, they're just playing it safe. And, Batman is one of their moneymakers. So let's just hope we get to see it before the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll probably see Spider-Man getting launched because that is big right now. Batman is kind of on a hiatus until the new movie comes out, so I could probably see that. Maybe they could be holding that off, for like promotion's sake, and like gearing those up together. Mm-hmm. So I can definitely see that.
Mm-hmm. What you got?
Let's see. My next one is actually kind of an interesting one. This week, we got a release of a actor from his show. This week, Flash star Hartley Sawyer fired over offensive tweets. If anybody's been watching Flash for the last couple of seasons, Hartley was playing Elastic Man, Roy Dibney. So if anybody is, I've been falling in love with the character. At first, I didn't like him when he first came in. The last season, in this season coming, the current one that they're in the middle of finishing up, I thought he was a strong character. He was doing great. We're finally seeing the relationship of him and his future wife. If nobody's aware, Sue Dibney or Sue Dearborn, as she is on the show right now, they eventually end up get married, and then that becomes a whole other situation where there's a whole other storyline with them, and it's very deep, dark side of DC when you look into what they do. But apparently Sawyer made some comments. This one was back, there was a couple back 2004 and 2006, some very off-colored offensive comments. I won't repeat those here just in case there is anybody listening underage. But the DC show, or the DC CW showrunner Eric Wallace apparently was mad enough to go ahead and pull him off for next season. I got two sides to this. I think one side, I agree with Eric. I agree with CW and pulling him because of the statement that was made. They were very off-colored. and they should not be, for somebody being a public figure, you have to watch what you say. I completely get that. Same thing we do here. We have to watch what we say, with ourselves. We are in a way somewhat of a public figure by putting ourselves out in this forum. But at the same time, I look back that it was 4 years ago. And I know me personally, I'm not the same person I was 6 to 4 years ago. I've learned lessons. I've changed who I was. And I just think that's kind of jumping the gun when it comes to that yes, those are something that happened back then. These are tweets that were deleted. He got rid of them. So obviously he knew something was wrong. Somebody copied them, saved them to bring them up later, which I kind of question what that person's doing with their life. But to me, it's like these people learned. We ran into this situation about a year ago, and who I'm going to talk about, James Gunn. Same thing happened with him. He made a comment Twitter-wise, and it was old Twitter, and Disney lashed out, let him go. But guess what? He came forward. He apologized. He admitted what he said was wrong. And I've seen Hartley do the same thing. So I just hope that maybe CW can lighten up a little bit and bring him back, just like Disney has with James Gunn. So what do you think there, my friend?
I agree with everything. I agree with everything you just said right there. For the comments that he made on his Twitter, and by the way, this was done like over, I think, 3 years ago.
4 years was the last Twitter. That was 2016 was the last one, and then there was one in 2014. Yeah, so it's been between. Okay. So yeah, it's been some time.
So it's been a while since he's done that.
Yeah,
it's been some time. So it's not like he's continually doing these misogynistic, racist tweets that he did. He felt sorry for it. He deleted it. So somebody dug this up for the express reason to get rid of him, which I really don't like at all. I really don't like that.
That's why I said whoever needs to do something better with their lives.
Yeah, somebody had a vendetta against him, which I really disagree. And like you said before, you and we are not the same people we were 3-4 years ago, maybe 3-4 months ago. I mean, everything is evolving. Everything changes. You're not the same person. And clearly Hartley is not the same person that he was when he made those tweets. He's obviously very, deeply regretful about saying them. I mean, to me, it's almost like in the society we live in nowadays, it's very, very, very delicate right now. Very delicate with anything you say or do. So I get why he did it, but I don't think he should have done it. I think the best thing he said, hey, that wasn't me. I apologize. We should move forward. And if you want to keep doing this move forward, movement that everybody has, you have to get over things like this.
Yeah,
if the guy is deeply regretful about it, then, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. You're sorry. Let's move on.
Yeah.
But to do this and bring it up again, I'm like, well, he has to go. He hasn't learned anything. How do you know that? Why? Like, what's the point? Like, you're just making things worse, in my opinion.
Like I said, I mean, I agree with Eric Wallace from the showrunner standpoint.
Oh, yeah. I agree with he did also,
that gut reaction. I'm going to do this. Something needs to be handled. But at the same time, you have to then take a step back. Okay, I reacted. How can we fix this now? Because this isn't the same guy. I mean, maybe it is the same guy. Maybe he hasn't learned. But it's one of those things you kind of have to do. And again, like we saw the reaction with James Gunn a year ago or 2 years ago. We saw that gut reaction. We saw how Disney treated it. And we saw the backlash that happened. I don't think we're going to see the same backlash with Hartley because Hartley isn't creating, isn't a major creator like James Gunn was. He's an actor. He's there. There is a backlash going on, but not to the extent that Disney got a hold of when they let James go. Because James just simply turned around, picked up another job, and then Disney's like, well, wait, oh crap, hold on. All right, we messed up. Let's regroup, see what he has to say, and then go forward from there.
If anything, Gunn prospered.
Yeah,
if you think about it, he prospered.
Got an extra job. If
not, he not only got his old job back, he got an extra job.
Yeah, because right now he wouldn't be working. We probably would have gotten the Guardians out in 3 now, but again, it's the way it looks now. No movie's getting released, so I think he's doing pretty good as it is.
Yeah, he won, and hopefully, like I said, I think Hartley will turn this around. Like I said, he was regretful about the comments. So it's not like he's still doing those things. He's not racist. I mean, from what I've gathered since. So the guy is truly regretful, and I think hopefully he'll land back on his feet, and hopefully the CW will say, hey, you know what? We messed up. We could
we're
need your
sorry.
reaction.
You're sorry.
Come back and
let's try to get our,
let's just move on.
Let's move forward together and just let this go in the past. And hopefully we'll see that.
Here's a raise, and you can be the spokesman for racism in Vancouver or something like that. I mean, just do something positive, but this whole negativity that's going on, because like I said, we live in a very socially sensitive society right now. So anything you say or do, even if it's from the past, is going to be brought up, which I think is ridiculous, because people can bring things up in my past and be like, "Oh, you're still that guy?" Like, absolutely not.
No,
I'm not that guy.
And I felt that way because I'll be honest. I've done that before with friends that I haven't seen in a while, and I think that they're the same person I hung out with, 8 years ago. And then I get to sit down and I start talking to them. I'm like, God damn, man, you're not the same person anymore. You are different. In my head, I think that person still exists, and that person didn't exist anymore. I had a friend I had a real issue with, a personal issue with, and we talked it through because I thought he was the same person. He came to me. He came to me in a moment of where I was down, where I was out, and he called me and we talked. And I'm like, all right, I feel better about my life and about what happened. Now I feel, I'm good now. I can let that baggage go. And that was, you just some things some things people just know that they screwed up and they're changed, and we just have to know as a society to say, okay, you learned. We're sorry. You're sorry. Let's move forward. So what do you got next, sir?
Well, guess what? A trailer dropped this week for the new HBO Max series. Well, not new. It's Doom Patrol Season 2, a group of zeros trying to be heroes. HBO Max took time to debut the Season 2 trailer for Doom Patrol on Twitter. The highly anticipated second season of the DC Universe exclusive Doom Patrol will have the return of a particular characters and team, a group of zeros trying to become heroes. I saw the trailer, and if you guys love Season 1, which I did, I was a huge fan of Season 1. I thought they did things on that show, introducing characters that I thought I would never. You talk about Suicide Squad, we talk about Legends of Tomorrow. Doom Patrol is right up there. If not, they're even more wackier. Robot Man,
they're all misfits. Yeah.
Crazy Jane, Elastic Girl. Who else is on there? The Invisible Guy or Negative Man, right? Negative Man. Yeah, I mean, even the Chief, the Chief's kid, I think is going to be one of the main villains this year. She's kind of like a child that looks like some sort of creature. Supposedly she's going to destroy the world. So I just hope that Alan Tudyk comes back. I hope he comes back, Mr. Nobody. That's who I want to come back. I thought he was a great villain in Season 1. Kind of broke that fourth wall character. So, just seeing that the trailer is going to come. We're going to get it soon. I believe June 26th is going to debut. I can't wait. I think it's 13 episodes, much like Titans was. Bring it on. I love the first season. So Doom Patrol Season 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't anybody seen Season 2 or Season 1, it's odd. I mean, when they find a portal in a goat's mouth, I mean, just go with that thought, and just imagine where they could go with the second season. I mean, to be honest, that's just nuts with where we think they could go from there, and what they're capable of doing. I mean, it was great writing, great acting, production. Everything was great on that. And guys, don't forget, this isn't just HBO Max. This is a DC Universe show. They are just releasing it on HBO Max as well. So don't if you guys don't have HBO Max, which is completely cool. I don't. I had it. I got rid of it. But you'll find this on DC Universe as well. This isn't. I know that HBO is doing the advertising for it, but you will find it in other places.
Yeah, and I cannot wait till this comes back on. It was one of my favorite shows. Actually, a lot of people who've watched that DC Universe streaming service, they actually prefer this show to Titans. Titans took itself too seriously and was too dark, and I could see that with Titans. But Doom Patrol didn't. Doom Patrol is what it was, man. I mean, and you can look at the characters, too. Their backstories are really tragic, especially Robot Man, Elastic Girl, Negative Man. You talk about those deep. They're all, just mentally and psychologically just damaged. And just to see them to come – I forgot about Cyborg. He's also on this team. I think he came a little bit –
Yeah, he came later. He came
later. He's basically part of the team, which I find kind of odd because he's not in the comics, but whatever. But this is just Cyborg that I like.
He does. Him and Beast Boy kind of did a little bit. They ventured in and out of Doom Patrol. So we saw Beast Boy at the beginning with Doom Patrol, because that's where he came from to join the Titans. Yeah. So, but they're not. Well, that's not what they're known for, but they have been there before. So. It's something to definitely check out. If you guys got DC Universe, they got a whole backlog of Doom Patrol stuff, so definitely check a lot of that out. I equate Doom Patrol to the Legends of Tomorrow when it comes to like the network stuff. DC, when you look at CW, everything takes itself real freaking serious, but then you throw on Legends, they're goofballs. There are some serious stuff that they deal with, but overall, they're very lighthearted, but they address important issues. They do address the LGBTQ community heavily, but they don't preach about it. When you look over at DC Universe, you look at the heaviness of Titans. You look at Stargirl's not heavy. Stargirl's somewhat light. You look at the heaviness of what Swamp Thing brought. So Doom Patrol to me, very lighthearted, very, very, it does have a dark tone to it, but they don't take themselves serious because they all think, well, we're freaks. We're not heroes. No, we don't have anything special. And they learn slowly that they are special, and special in a good way, not just, special for just being weird and being a man, that's stuck in a robot's body, or a girl that droops everywhere, or a chick with, multiple personalities, which if nobody has seen Doom Patrol, Crazy Jane is the best actress and the best character out there. The actress that plays her, I wish I had her.
Diana Guerrero.
She is just amazing because she switches those personalities, and they're just so different. It's great to see that. She's a great actor.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that series. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it was on BBC for a couple of years called Orphan Black, and that one actress, she basically played all these roles. And it was like in different settings of each episode, she would see like a different version of herself, because I guess they were all clones. But Diana Guerrero has to do it in every episode. Yeah, she's got to switch at the drop of a hat. 1 minute she's insane, 1 minute she's a doctor, the other minute she's a witch.
There was a show on Netflix movie on Netflix, something about Monday, or Don't Forget About Monday, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was that there was a group of clones, and they all were. Each day of the week they were allowed to go out. Monday was allowed to go out on Monday. She came home and she would tell the story of what happened through her day, and then Tuesday would remember what happened to Monday, and she would go out and live Monday, that life, but then come home and tell Wednesday, what happened. So it was a really cool movie. So yeah, the multiple personalities are out there, folks.
Yes, they are. And I guess one last thing we could talk about the trailer is we get Timothy Dalton coming back, and we talk about legitimacy adding to a show. I think we discussed that probably on our Midnight Movies broadcast. We talk about, when you bring a cast together, you have to have that one veteran who's going to, keep the glue together. And I think Timothy Dalton, James Bond himself, he adds to that. I mean, in his older years.
I hate to take it away from you. I hate to take it away from Timothy. Brandon Fraser's the glue. He's the vet actor. You got to forget.
He's good too. He's good too.
He's the one that's there every episode. He's the one there, really truly holding the cast. Yeah, it's great to have Timothy in there. I'm not saying that Timothy doesn't help out and do some great things in there, but when you talk about somebody that I think is there for those younger actors, I think it falls under.
Brendan's great. I mean,
Brandon.
I was shocked when they cast him. I was like, Brendan Fraser, really? He's still around? And he's great as Robot Man. He's just really, really, really great. So, but June 26th, that should be coming out on HBO Max and DC streaming platform.
Very good. My next one is actually one that I know you and I are big fans of, especially during this great Keanu-sance that we are living through. The Matrix 4 is definitely coming down the pike. They have a release date of May 21st, 2021, so not that far off. I believe it's still set in stone. We had a couple of movie dates get pushed back a little bit further this on Friday. But just recently, Empire Magazine was interviewing both Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves, and they were just talking about how, what they felt about the script and what was bringing him back. And what they were basically saying is Lana Wachowski wrote a beautiful script and a wonderful story that resonated with me. This is coming from Keanu, that the only reason to do it, to work with her again, is just amazing. It's been really special. And the story has, I think, some meaningful things to say, and that we can take some nourishment from. Moss, kind of echoing the same sentiments, said, I never thought that it would happen. It was never on my radar at all. And she was saying when it was brought to me in the way it was brought to me, with incredible depth and all the integrity and artistry you could imagine, I was like, this is a gift. I was just very excited. This is going to be coming out. You're going to have Jada Pinkett Smith. Of course, I'm sorry, guys. I butcher these. Yaya Abdul Mateen the second.
Yeah. That's Black Manta. Yeah.
Black Manta. Okay. Neil Patrick Harris.
And Dr. Manhattan also. Yeah. Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris is going to be on here. Jessica Henwick and Jonathan Groff were all set for the Matrix 4. My only thing is, both Neo and Trinity were killed off at the end of the last Matrix.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that the two that died are the only returning actors. It just is kind of strange. Now, they may give a hint possibly to what the storyline is. Possibly that the storyline is actually taking place strictly in the Matrix. That they are still, that they are back, that they're not reincarnated, but that they are back inside of the Matrix, and maybe they are leading the resistance from within there. So it'll be interesting to see what the path is and what they go with. Because I was not a big fan when I heard that this is coming back, but if those two actors are behind it, I have faith.
Yeah, it's interesting too because actually at the end of the third one, they actually did hint of a sequel. The architect and I forget the lady who she was called, the older lady. They sat at the bench and basically, well, this has happened before. It's going to happen all over again.
Right, but it doesn't.
So I guess it's going to take place in the Matrix. I mean, they don't have to, but it's very vague. But I guess they can go from there. I mean, maybe it's another part of the Matrix. I don't know. Maybe the Matrix has like all these different other areas that yet to explore. I mean,
well, they did talk about the different level. They did talk about the different levels of the Matrix. That one version was this, one version was that, one version was this. So it's. I mean, there will always be a one hidden in there for when the machines don't do what they're supposed to do. And if anybody was ever a Matrix Online game player like I was, they hinted at Neo was still kind of rumbling around, but again, he wasn't real. He was just in the Matrix, which he reset the Matrix. So of course he's still in there. And it would make sense that he would remake the love of his life to join him in there as a digital form. So that's where I'm thinking they're probably going to go that direction. And then maybe, like I said, maybe he's just leading the rebellion or the resistance through the Matrix to try to find the next one. And they can go from there.
Yeah, if you're going to cast Yaya, I mean, I'm sure it could be the passing the baton situation, could be something like that. I mean, because I don't see them doing like Matrix 5 and 6, but then again, I didn't think they were going to do a fourth one. So,
well, the Matrix is one of those ones that they could go on and on and on with different versions of the one and have different stories of how they beat the Matrix, or maybe one time they don't beat the Matrix. The Animatrix was great too. I mean, you could just pull from that. I always get a little annoyed when I see like online people selling, the Matrix. Oh, the Matrix trilogy. I go, no. You got to include number 4. You got to include the Animatrix because it's part of that. I mean, in my collection, I have Animatrix, and you have to watch that to understand the growth of that movie.
I think where is that movie positioned? Is that between after the second, before the third, or is it?
No, it's first, second. It's first, second. The kid that's in the second one that like is all gaga and like starstruck with Neo, he's in that one because the moment that Neo makes a comment, or the kid's like, Neo, you saved me. He goes, no, kid, you saved yourself. I just showed you the door, and that story happens in there. So, you comfortable over there, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what's up?
I don't know.
Do I look uncomfortable?
No, you look really comfortable. You're not like upright like normal. So, you don't.
Oh no. Yeah, I just decided to be a little very.
Okay. I was like, you okay, man? You back hurting or something?
Yeah. I'm good, man. I'm just like, I mean,
Can we get you a margarita or something?
Yeah.
A little umbrella.
Just kick myself up real quick. Get me a little spritzer.
All right, I'm just checking.
Yes, I'm very comfortable. No, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm fantastic.
All right, I'm just making sure. Just people watching, make sure that they understand he's okay, guys. He's nothing's going on.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just this is my comfy setting feeling here. You normally if I'm upright like this, but here I can just I can still I can say hi.
All right then. All right. So what do you have next?
Well, guess what? Comic-Con was canceled, which we all knew was going to happen because of the COVID-19 situation. But fear not, guys. I predicted this. Nearly 2 months after the Corvinus pandemic forced Comic-Con International to scrap the summer's biggest, largest.
Did you say Corvinus?
The Corvinus?
Yeah, you said Corvinus.
Corvinus, whatever.
Yeah, this isn't Underworld, dude.
That's Corvinus. the COVID-19 pandemic forced
damn werewolf virus.
The Corvinus virus. Oh God! To scrap this biggest summer's comic book convention, it is said that you don't even have to leave your house because Comic-Con is coming to the virtual world and will take place from the same dates of July 22nd to July 26th. Previously teased the Comic-Con's virtual replacement with a video posted last month. To today, the organization shed new light and promising that there will be the online exhibition of Hall H, specials, limited edition products, and there will also be a masquerade and gaming activities to keep everyone entertained. I think this is great news.
Yeah, I think this is great too. Honestly,
this is basically
you and I haven't had a chance to talk, but I think we should do like a little watch along throughout the weekend when this does.
I think we should. I think it's going to be a long weekend for us because, I mean, I'm not leaving my house with Comic-Con. I never do, and now with this being online and you could basically participate. This is like every geek's dream. And I think going forward, when the con does come back, they should keep this at some level. Because the biggest complaints that I've always got every year is like, people waste all this money to go to Comic-Con. Of course, you got to save about a year in advance to get the hotel room, tickets, wait in line. But this way, everybody's there. Nobody loses. You can see those, exclusive trailers or toys that's being sold or comics. And if you can keep this at some level, you're going to make everybody happy. So in the midst of tragedy, there comes triumph. And this is one of the biggest ones, and I cannot wait. I will be online every single day. Actually, we probably will be doing a watch along to several.
Yeah, I think about it. We should like pop on and just like talk about it, So, yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I do hope that they do take this into consideration and add it. Yeah, I think I'd even pay a little bit for having the access. Okay, I can't get out there, so don't charge me full access. To do a small, online fee. I've recently done a couple of podcast conventions where I paid a certain amount of money and I had got access into doing certain things, so I could still get the convention feel. I would go, it was scheduled to go into a convention room and meet, and listen to a talk about something. And I was able to go into that room, sit down and watch, I couldn't, the one cool thing I know the podcast convention they're talking about doing here is that there will actually be interaction with the presenter afterwards. So that if they can pull something off like that, I think that would be great. Have one microphone there for, the on-site, or well, obviously they won't have on-site, but maybe in the future they can do it where people are on-site, but then have hey, Betty from Tucson has a question for you. So they can definitely do something like that. I think it would be very good and more interactive for everybody.
And you can incorporate like the Streamlabs super chats if you want. Like, a lot of those proceeds could go to the COVID-19 fund. I mean, you could make a whole thing of it, literally. Yeah. If you did it this way, I mean, if you're going to do the 4 days, you could literally say, hey, for 4 days, I'm going to charge you $40 online access. You get to see all the panels and everything. You get to converse and all that. And I think it's a win-win situation. And I'm very interested to see how they're going to do this because actually, not only is Comic-Con doing this, I believe DC, Warner Brothers, is having their own convention the following month. Actually,
that's why I got a follow-up for that. Yeah, they're doing that's going to be on August 22nd. It's called DC Fandom. It's going to be 24 hours starting at 10 a.m. And it's you basically because they're not going to be there for San Diego, and neither is Marvel. Marvel was already skipping this year anyways, but DC decided, we're going to pull it out. DC is going to be Warner Brother Games, film, TV, and comics. So that's most likely when you're going to see your Batman, by the way. I think they're going to release it during this time because it is going to be primarily DC. They're going to be doing events including the Batman, Black Adam, Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman 84. In terms of Wonder Woman sequels, the date of the event seems to be strange since the movie will have been in theaters for 10 days. But again, I just read something that just a few days ago where they were pushing Wonder Woman back till next year. So that may be what they're doing there. So it seems like, they're also likely to have James Gunn could be there for like doing a short teaser for Suicide Squad, Matt Reeves, but of course, Batman and the Black Adam, they should have enough material to do something, a little trailer or something. So they're there. Nothing from Marvel. Like I said, Marvel was already scheduled to skip, but no news of them doing their own. We do have do they
have D23 this year?
D23. I don't know if it's been canceled or one of our friends is scheduled to go out for her birthday. I haven't heard anything from her yet of like if she got canceled or not. or postponed. Because like our local convention here, MegaCon, that was supposed to be in April. That got pushed back, and then finally they decided in October they're going to do a smaller convention and then just do the bigger normal one back in April next year. So, you know, for those of us that like pre-bought our tickets, they're gonna say, well, okay, we're limited to just the people that already bought their tickets. So no new tickets are being sold for the October one, and which is great because it's right at Halloween. I think it's Halloween weekend. I think that's gonna be a blast. So I think that's kind of cool for them to do it that way.
Yeah. It sucks that I didn't get my ticket, but should be fun. Yeah, well, I slacked on it. I know, I slacked. But that should be fun. And with all this online stuff, like I said, I think, you know, I'll say once again, this is sort of, to me, I think this is a future thing you could use going forward for literally Definitely. Everything. I mean, going forward, yes, we're going to have the crowds and we're going to have the distancing and all that stuff. Of course, we got to be kept safe, but this is a brilliant move. Like, it really, really is. And I think you're taking advantage of technology, like Zoom and all that stuff. Like, it's just a new platform. That's all it is. And you're going to reach a lot more people who couldn't go there in person.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a win-win situation for us, for everybody. We're still going to get our Comic-Con, and, you know, we can get our cake and eat it. So I can't wait.
All right. Very good. So what do you got next?
Oh, that was my Comic-Con. What do you have next?
Well, I did your DC. I followed.
Oh, okay.
Well, yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, I got another one here. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Sorry. Okay. There it is. So, hold on. It's not up there. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties. I'm always going to put these stories on. Okay. I got it. Thanks, guys. Bruce Timm, the guy who is behind the entire visual aesthetic of the DACAU, that's the animated stuff. And it all started with the animated series. According to GGW, WB Animation is working on an Elseworlds Batman movie from the creators of the animated series. According to this, the description of the story is called Batman, Soul of the Dragon. And I'll give you a brief synopsis. In this version of Batman, his martial arts training comes into focus. The film will reportedly focus around Batman, Bronze Tiger, Lady Shiva, Richard Dragon, as they all learn they have a common acquaintance. I wonder who that could be. When a cursed relic resurfaces, the mystery of the dead master reopens, and the Batman and his former classmates face out the ultimate test of martial arts skills to gain control of this dangerous relic. Interesting. Using this, I think it's great. Like they said, it's another Elseworlds movie. It's going to be created from the animated series. You're going to have that animation style, and you're bringing in characters that I don't think we've ever seen them in the animated. I don't think we've seen.
This isn't going to be Elseworld. It's being derived from an Elseworld story.
Oh, okay.
It's not an Elseworld movie. Because if you read further in that article, they say we're going to cover certain gaps in the original series when Batman wasn't around or when they weren't filming. Yeah, it's deriving from that Batman, the Batman Soul of the Dragon Elseworld story. They're going to take pieces of that and add it into the animated series is what it is. So yeah, because I thought when I first read it too, that's what I took, and then I read more. I was like, oh, okay, they're taking the guts of that soul, the black of the dirt, Soul of the Dragon, and adding that to the Timm universe. And basically, what I loved is that they were going to fill in the blanks of things that we didn't see, which I think is going to be awesome.
So, because I mean, like I said, you're going to intro characters that like I said, I don't think you've seen. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you seen Shiva or
Lady Shiva in one of the episodes when he was in Japan, and then he started having flashbacks of his martial arts training. So Shiva was in there at one point. It was just for like an episode. One episode, wasn't like a recurring thing, because when he was in Japan, he was doing flashbacks about his training out there.
Okay, all right, and then you have Richard Dragon, which he's been around before in the Arrowverse. And Bronze Tiger, he's also been in the Arrowverse, so that should be pretty cool. No release date as of yet, but it should. When you have the creators of the animated series getting back on board, I would think it's nothing but delicious goodiness. And I can't wait.
I mean, you think the last time they got together was the Batman one where him and Harley teamed up.
And the Batman Harley.
Yeah, and she ripped that tremendous fart inside the.
Oh boy.
Okay, well, like this one I had. This one I have is actually a correction from something that was released earlier this week, and the internet went batshit crazy. Earlier this week, it was announced that Beyonce was signing up or had signed up with Disney to take place and be in the next Black Panther movie. The internet went crazy. Everybody thought, okay, well, because she's worked with them before. She worked with them on the Lion King movie. So they thought, okay, well, that sounds good. But apparently this little nugget came from the UK tabloid The Sun. And if anybody is familiar with The Sun, they run with a fantastic story, fanciful, and just let everybody else take that out. But yeah, despite overwhelming excitement of the prospects, sources have told Donnell, he's one of the insiders, that with who was it with? She was with, God damn it, I didn't highlight it. Sorry, guys. Shoot, sorry.
It's okay.
I think he's with Variety, actually. Donnell was with Variety. And we're talking about a legitimate source there, and says that she will not contribute to the soundtrack of Black Panther 2, as well as not be involved into the filming, because a lot of people went nuts. And of course, great actors. Let me try that. An actress like her, everybody jumped to the fact of Storm. I mean, that was the most logical thing that to go with, which I'm pretty sure I probably would have done it, but I usually take my news articles coming from certain areas with a grain of salt. So I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, we'll see. That one sounds a little too fun, too awesome. And then of course it came down that it was a falsehood. So just check your sources when you guys are reading stuff. I see some people like post some strange things. I'm like, where'd you get that from?
That was one that was a weird one I was posted. Yeah. I was like, where the hell did they get that from?
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at there are a handful of websites that come off legit, but they're really not, and they write some great stuff. I mean, if their shit could become real, I'd be extremely happy with some of those sites. I mean, they tease me like a good fanboy should be teased. I mean, I'm like, we're going to get what? Oh, it's you. Damn it. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to look at you.
Yeah,
I've tried to get them off my feed, but they somehow still sneak in. And it gets my blood going, my boil. And I'm like, yes. No, not you.
Well,
no.
Once you see that website, your heart just sinks.
Not again, like I said, there's a couple of them. There's the one that you and I know, but there's been a few more that have been slowly creeping in, and one has a very similar look to a similar title and a similar look to another reliable source. So I've been trying to watch them carefully.
Careful.
But that is, so no Beyonce, folks. Sorry if you got your hopes up.
Yeah, all the single ladies. Yeah. Sorry, man. Well, you just be sad. It's not going to happen. And all the single ladies.
So what do you got next, sir?
I got Actually, last week I was giving Matt Reeves praise. This week I'm going to crap on Matt Reeves because I'm pissed off at him now. Last week I reported that of all these, he's talking about future villains, and we talked about Clayface. We talked about villains not yet used. And the one thing we said was leave the Joker alone. Put him in the toy box, let him rest for a while. Well, this week there's been claims that there are indeed plans for a new version of the Clown Prince of Crime to be introduced by Matt Reeves. According to Direct, the filmmaker is going to debut a new Joker during his trilogy, and the plan is for him to appear in the second and third installments of his films. No, Matt, no. Why? To me, I am all Jokered out. I mean, we had the Joaquin Phoenix version, which was great. We've had Jared Leto. We've had we had Heath Ledger. Hell, we have Alan Tudyk's version. I'm Jokered out. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to see him. I'm tired of seeing him. When I read this, I was like, come on. Again? I mean, you're not going to even have continuity. You're not going to even bring in Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, you're going to bring in another one? It's just like, come on already.
Well, Joaquin was a different version.
True, but I thought that maybe he had a chance since Matt Reeves is kind of a grounded filmmaker that he possibly.
Joaquin was too dark, was too grounded. I think that's the problem with that. And I mean, once you and I walked out of the theaters and we're like, yeah, we can't see that. We couldn't see a serious Batman because it wouldn't work in that world. A man dressed like a bat in that world wouldn't translate over well, I don't think.
It just breaks my heart, man, because I'm over it. I am literally over I'm Jokered out. And to see him again, it's like, I get it. You know, he is probably the number one comic book villain icon out there. I mean, he's easily marketable. I mean, he sells a ton of merch. I mean,
wearing my Joker shirt tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
in honor of Denny. So yeah, definitely.
I mean, look at, I mean, the guy. I mean, how many cosplayers do you see dressed as the Joker for Halloween? I mean, like millions, and even females dressed as the Joker. I mean, he is on that Batman level as being iconic. Yes,
I went to a toy convention today, and I came across a shelf of Joker pops, Funko Pops, and it wasn't a shelf of the same Joker. It wasn't a shelf of a couple of the same one. No, it was a shelf of different Jokers, and I swear to God, there were 8 different Jokers up there. So there are a lot of Jokers out there. Let it breathe. Now, please, guys, don't get us wrong when you hear this, and don't jump on a bandwagon and beat us up. We here at Heroes Asylum understand that there has to be a Joker in Batman's world. We get that. I would never say to Matt Reeves, never have a Joker. What we're saying is, let this immense, diverse, and colorful rogues gallery that Batman is known for breathe. Let some of those characters get some light on them. Go ahead and introduce the Joker at the end of this one. I think the best one was Batman Begins. You saw the card. When did we see Joker? The second movie. We could have waited till the third movie. Honestly, that's what I thought it was. I thought that was the perfect Easter egg. Hey, there's somebody else out there dressing up like you. Somebody's getting more theatrical too. Then go into Scarecrow and Two-Face in the second movie. Then get to the big baddie. Treat it like a video game. The Joker's your big boss. Let's go through individual other characters, and let's be introduced to them. Again, we don't think that there would never be a Joker in the Matt Reeves. We just want a breath to let those other characters shine. We always talk about, if you look back at I think the Batman animated series is the best version and the best understanding of Batman's rogue gallery. You see more of their brokenness, their diversity, their damaged goods in their head. You get that in the animated series better than anything. And we didn't get Joker every time. No, we were introduced. We did cliffhangers and 2-parters and 3-parters for certain characters. That's all we're asking. Just let the others breathe.
Yeah, bring them out. I mean, we talked about the villains who they could bring out. I mean, I'm just like, I agree. They were going to intro the Joker. It was going to happen. Yeah. I knew it. You knew it. I mean, it was only a matter of time. I knew this was coming. It's just like, for me, I mean, you could hold them all you don't even have to introduce him in the second movie. I mean, you could, like you just said, like at the ending, something, you hear the laugh, and then he's in the third movie. Like, just do it like that. To me, I am just so Jokered out. It's ridiculous. We have the Joker War coming out. Like, I think it already came out this past week in comic polls.
It started. Some of it was you have the prelude to it. It started on Nightwing about 2 episodes or 2 issues ago.
Yeah, so that's out there. I mean, you have a version of the Joker out there in the DC comic book universe, the Batman Who Laughs, who I think is a really cool character. And I like him better than the current Joker because it's an amalgamation of Batman and the Joker. So you can go like different ways with that. That version I'm cool with. But the Joker himself, I'm just exhausted.
Then you look at it. They just also released this past week, also the 80th anniversary of the Joker. So I mean, I understand that part. You're wanting to celebrate the Crown Prince. Definitely get that. But the other sides, and then if you look at the Black Label, I couldn't tell you. I think the Black Label's got probably more Joker and Harley books into that in the little bit of the time it's been around. I think it's only been around less than maybe 7 months. In there, I couldn't tell you how many Joker and Harley books are in that. So just let it breathe. That's all we ask, guys. We don't want to not like something. We, especially a character that has always been such an integral part of another major character, Batman. We don't want to eventually hate him. And
I'm getting close.
You're joining my wagon. I made room for you. Hop on, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I am getting close because it's getting to a point. Like I sat here last week and I praised the guy. I was like, "Oh, you're bringing."
I laughed my ass off when I read that article. I was like, "Damn it!"
And then literally the next day, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, it was exactly. It came out Monday. I was listening to our episode. I always listen to our episode, guys, and not to like pat my own back, but I just like to listen to hear what you guys are hearing. And I was listening to it, and I checked my Facebook feed, and I was like, "Are you shitting me?" I was like, "Man, hopefully Kane doesn't see this. Let it ride, and I'll bring it up nice and easy on Sunday for him."
That's why I use it as the last one, because I'm just exhausted of him. That's what it is. I'm tired. You know, I get it, but I'm exhausted of him. I really am. Just put him away for a while. Focus on somebody else. You know, that's what Matt Reeves is going to do with this new trilogy. Apparently, he's going to focus on other villains. I mean, like more of the grounded villains, like Penguin.
Well, this one wasn't this one supposed to be more heavily based off of the last Halloween or longest Halloween?
Yeah, the long Halloween and the year two or year one is.
I thought the Knoll one was also the longest Halloween. I was like, it's great you guys are like that book, but he's got a big library. Pick other story arcs to delve into, you know.
Many. Have they even touched Nightfall yet? Nightfall's waiting.
Nightfall's that's more in depth. That's
a cool one you could.
That would have been more for Ben to do at his age. I think that would have been a great if they'd started a Batman series off with Ben like that originally was going to happen. I think he would have been great for the Night Falls because you've already got the damaged man psychologically.
And then you can introduce a better version of Bane.
Yeah.
Then you have it would have been so cool.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah. They could have done something, you know. But again,
I guess the bottom line, as we're saying, is that there's so many other things they could do. They don't have to just stick to one. I mean, you could just cherry pick, I always say the MCU does it the best. They cherry pick from particular arcs and they just put them in a movie and they mix it all together and they have a great formula. But you know, to me, it's just you're just rehashing. Honestly, I don't want to see a year 2 young Batman again because I already got that with Batman Begins.
Yeah, we saw year 1 and year 2 pretty much.
Yeah, I get it, but
everybody has to restart from the beginning. As long as what's the one word we always say, or the saying we always say? I don't want to see the pearls. I don't need to see the freaking pearls again.
No more pearls and no more Uncle Ben dying. Let's stop killing the Waynes. Enough of the death of the Waynes.
But we already know that he died. That's what I think I loved about the introduction of Spider-Man. We didn't see Ben die. We know he died. But I think what's missing, although, with that Spider-Man is that connection to Ben. And with great power comes great responsibility. That's no longer there. His Uncle Ben now is Iron Man, and that just is strange to me. You know,
it's a little odd. I mean, I think they had one sentence they mentioned, I think in not Homecoming, but in Civil War, where he didn't say his name, but he just said when the bad things started to happen, and that was it.
Well, no, he mentions his uncle. He mentions his uncle a couple of times when he talks about because apparently Uncle Ben was a big movie buff, and that's why he makes whenever he mentions his uncle about a plan he wants to do. My uncle went and took me to see this Star Wars movie. And he talks about wrapping the web around and knocking down that one villain.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, you're right. I forgot about
his
that.
uncle. His uncle was the movie buff. So when Peter makes a reference to seeing an '80s movie, an old movie, as he puts it, that's his reference to his uncle. So that's his connection to his uncle. Not great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben is not his conscience anymore. It's now it will be Tony, and that's just what's kind of strange about it.
Yeah, because
it is. I mean, again, we don't need to see the pearls drop and everything, but we do understand that mom and dad for Bruce is his conscience, is his driving force, just like Spider-Man. It was his uncle. It was his driving force.
I'll tell you what movie in the Batman space did that very well without being preachy about it. It was the Lego Batman movie. Literally, they had a scene where he's in the living room and you see the portrait and you see him looking at it and he doesn't cry, but he just sort of stares at it for a couple minutes and then he just puts his head down and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That is the only mention you got. And then okay, something happened here. Or if you don't know by now,
if you ever watched or read any of the comic books, they didn't every issue they didn't rehash the fact his parents were dead. You knew his parents were dead. Every once in a while he may get this longing look staring at a bust or staring at a photo or picture or something of his parents, and you see that moment of him contemplating something, and you know that's his connection. That's his focal point is that. So we don't have to keep re-seeing it. Like I said, we don't see it in every Batman comic book. We probably haven't seen the death of the Waynes in decades in the comic books. I mean, unless they're like doing a mini graphic novel, we probably have seen those. But like in the overall Batman comic book, don't think we've had to address that ever again. You know, we know. And I think when people are going to a Batman movie, we know. And Batman is more iconic worldwide than even Superman is, I think, at this point. Everybody, you ask anybody across the country that has an ability to watch a TV or read a comic book, if they know who Batman is and what happened to Batman's parents. I put money on it. You ask anybody around the world.
A little kid in the street would know what happened to Batman's parents. I mean, it's that, you know, that image everybody knows.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an
good, but they
iconic
had it in Gotham. They've had it in the movie. Like they've had it everywhere.
Yeah, don't
even the video games they had it.
Yep. I see it.
So, but let's hopefully they put him. I mean, I get he's coming, but you know, just put him away. But
all right. So I have nothing else either. So we are good. We are done with our show. Like I said, this was a long one. We did not have a weekly poll, but we should have weekly polls coming for you next week.
Yes, there's some good stuff coming out.
Sure, you guys check out our other podcast this week. We will be dropping off a Marvel movie for the Midnight Movies. Last week I did drop the Heavy Metal. 1981 Heavy Metal. Kane and I did a movie review on that one, or watch along with that one. I dropped that last week. This coming week, we're going to be introducing the Marvel Avengers Infinity watch along, and it will be Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably one of our favorite ones out of all the ones we've watched so far.
I think we were all just gaga of that movie. I don't think we said a negative thing about it. I think that was one of the first ones we actually just talked about the entire movie straight through.
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
that's how much fun we had with that one.
So check that out, guys. That is on our sister show, Midnight Movies. You can find that if you go to our heroesasylum.com page. There's a link to take you straight there, or go to our Facebook page. You'll find the link. I always post the links for the movies there, and you can check it out there, or go to streamerlinks.com.
God bless you.
/thank you. Heroes_asylum, and you can get it'll take you to a page where you can get to everything that Kane's going to talk about next.
Exactly. A Twitter page at the Heroes Asylum Podcast. Starting to put some stuff on there little by little, along with the Instagram page at the Heroes Asylum. Again, putting some stuff on there. The Facebook page is the Marinara of Contact. And by the way, slowly but surely, I don't know if anybody caught it last night, I'm starting to experiment with a little Facebook Live Asylum version. It's only 5 minutes. Many people on there, but it's slowly but surely a little experimentation I'm doing in the Asylum. Check it out. I don't know when I'm going to pop up. It could be in the morning, it could be at night, it could be 5 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? But if you see me on there, or you see the captain on there, pop in, say hello, chat us up. You know, a lot of stuff going on in the world, and we'd love to talk to you face to face. And as always, for the cat. Well, hopefully.
I'm sorry. We'll see you guys next week. Just make sure you guys do tune in and check us out on the podcast.
That's right. Get to the Asylum.